Good morning. Good morning. Well, women, it is Amanda and Julia. I will again introduce Julia in case you haven't caught one of our Friday talks yet. But I'm Amanda. This is the One Woman's Community, and we are going to talk today, specifically focus on sugar, because this is a kind of a topic that's come up for me, I'm going to say over the past few weeks. After the work I did in Macros 101 over the summer, and I'll walk you through all that in a second. So if you are out there self-sabotaging yourself when it comes to sugar, if sugary foods are a sticking point in your wellness, which I know a lot of you have reached out to me and said they are, especially with the Fast Away to Fat Loss and us doing a sugar elimination this month, a lot's come up for a lot of people. So this experience will be really cool for you to get to listen in on, because what we're going to do isn't just talk about it, but I know I asked Julia to come and ask me some questions and help me, process through this sugar situation. Help me do some reflecting, like why we say it's nice to have a coach when you're working on your mindset, because you can't see your blind spots. You can't see the spinach in your teeth is a fun metaphor that Amber from Biceps After Babies uses. I really like that. So it's nice to have a friend to hold up a mirror, and then you're like, they can say, oh yeah, did you see that stuck in your teeth? And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. That's so obvious now. So let Julia introduce herself so you can get to know her, and then we'll talk sugar stuff.
Yes, hello. I am Julia with Be Well Fitness, and I work with women over 40 to help them feel empowered in their body through strength training, some mindful movement, and of course, the mindset. And that's probably the main obstacle that I see in many people's journey. It's the mindset piece that is missing out from simple kind of fitness people or fitness industry there. Because I think in the fitness world, it's so much focused on appearance, and like there are no other benefits to moving or feeling strong. So that's why I think I am trying to make that my mission, to show that muscles are not just for show, that they can be quite functional in many ways, plus allow you to eat way more and enjoy it, which is good. But we can talk about it the other time. So Amanda, and almost asked you, called you Amber.
Yeah.
Amanda and I have been talking to maybe like alternate our talks and make it a little bit more like strength educational and then food educational, kind of combining those two pieces together. But we might, come with that in October or so. So yes, and what I have been noticing in my client's journey, just kind of focusing more on the physical part of it and not so much food, and especially for women, and yes, maybe like stereotyping that women are more emotional, then I think that emotional part of the womanly kind of thing creates a lot of reactivity.
Mm.
And perhaps that might come up in our coaching today, who knows? And as you may know, and I'm sure we all have experienced, and I don't know if men necessarily have that, like I've never really heard that, but that emotional eating, right?
Right.
And of course, where do we go? Like, yeah, for sugar, right?
Yeah.
So it's that reactivity. So, and basically from here, let's just try to get into our topic. What do you think?
That sounds wonderful. And I'm really appreciative of you being here and sharing time with all of us. So
Well, thank you for allowing me to play and practice and share the knowledge. It's a wonderful platform, and I love doing it with you because I love your mindset and your passion and your creativity. Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad. So good. I'm just really glad we're all here together. I'll tell you what,
Exactly.
it's a good thing to be with ladies over 40 who are just working to be, the boss of their own body, CEO of their own health.
Exactly.
I have to say. So here is what I am CEOing myself on right now. It is, okay, real quick backstory. Like, I came to my wellness journey at 43 with a picture of myself as someone who's very addicted to sugar. And that was I ate very clean, whole food, but I also was addicted to having sugary treats every day. Excessive amounts of calories were coming from there. And I kind of knew that. I even had an experience where I took my kids to the pediatrician. He taught us that we should be shooting for less than 25 grams of added sugars a day. So less than 100 calories coming from added sugars, processed sugars a day, in order to avoid disease. And that had been set up by the American Heart Association's research, and the American Academy of Pediatrics is now following that recommendation. And he walked us through, like, so juice, don't do it anymore, blah, 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 blah. Gave us a great education. He's a phenomenal pediatrician. And so he said, how do you think you're doing with that? And I lied to him. I knew I was lying. I was like, oh yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. And I knew it was a lie because I knew we weren't doing great. I knew, and on the way home from the pediatrician, this is how stuck in it I was. We went to the coffee shop and got hot chocolates and like chocolate filled croissants, muffins made of chocolate with chocolate chips on them. And we were doing this like every day. And, you know, that's always a big thing for me, is like when I know I'm putting my kids, quote unquote, at risk, then I'm like, oh boy, like this is a thing to work on. Like, I grew up in an alcoholic family. And I, even as a kid, knew like, this is really a bummer that like my family is so caught up in their stuff. And like, I'm dealing with consequences as a kid. I had a sense of that. So I really don't want that for my kids. So that's right around then is when I decided I've got to become the CEO of my own health. I can't get out of bed in the morning. Something is wrong. My doctors say I'm fine. They say there's nothing I can do after 40. It's my hormones. They have no idea how I should be eating or exercising. Got to do something. So I signed myself up for the Faster Way to Fat Loss. And there I learned a ton about macro tracking, being very educated and aware around nutrition, focusing on progress over perfection, and using this approach of focus on whole food, avoid processed food, and let's count sugar as a processed food because it is. And instead of having it every day, let's save it for Saturday treat day. And that approach worked really well for me. In my opinion, my body got unaddicted to sugar with it, using that approach, especially with the scheduling help from intermittent fasting. And that felt amazing. Like the difference between how I felt when I perceived I was addicted to sugar and then how I feel now with like sugar, I don't have to have it every day. I'm not having a glass of wine while I make dinner. I'm not driven to have the sugars every day. It's an awesome feeling. It's freedom. It's really good. But then 3 years later comes along the learning I did over the summer in Macros 101, where I started realizing I had developed some very black and white, good or bad, all or nothing thinking around sugar, and also lumped in there as alcohol, because alcohol to me essentially is a sugar. Sugar alcohols is what alcohol brings to your body. No nutrition, just calories. And I had started to see sugar bad, no added sugar's good. And I had definitely passed that on to my kids, because my daughter about a week ago said, Mom, it's like you're a new person, because we went to Dairy Queen and it wasn't treat day. And then you had those chocolate things from Costco, and we had them like after dinner and it wasn't like treat day. And I was like, oh, okay, there's the sign, you know, like I have taught my kids this very extreme thinking, like all or nothing around sugar. And so I would love to be more moderate around sugars, added sugars, but I am still in a place of fear and wanting to not, you know, part of my sticking is I don't want to be addicted to sugar. And I am afraid that if I have it more than once a week, because I've tested out once a week and I know that works for me. If I have it more than once a week, am I going to go back into my body being addicted to sugar, my mind being addicted to sugar, my habit of like, oh, I have to have a sugary treat at the end of the day? Is that going to take me over and take away my food freedom? I don't want that, but I don't want this all or nothing either. I would like to be in moderation where I can have the treats in the house and not be called by them, not have them have the power. Instead, I have the power to say I can work that into macros whenever I want. I can know it's there and not feel like a compulsion and be obsessed with thinking about it and eating it and feeling out of control.
Well, thank you for sharing. Very, very good. And what I see, kind of starting from that point before faster way to weight loss, when you were like, we can say a hot mess or whatever, put a judgment on it. Or
Lying
the way you
nutrition,
described,
not a good
you
place
said,
to be.
I pictured myself as a sugar addicted person. So I think that's the words you use that I wrote it down. And you use the words excessive calories. So this is kind of like that sort of above and beyond description, right? However, you were doing clean eating and you even did go to the doctor and he gave you the lecture, but then you still went and lied to him, first of all. Let's just kind of start from that point. And if we kind of start from that first identity of Amanda, which is going to be identity before the faster way to weight loss. I'm just going to call it faster because it's like too many words and I get confused there. So what were your thoughts as you were talking about it? Or if you remember, if you take yourself there now, like I guess 3-4 years ago, what were your thoughts about sugar then?
I don't so much, it wasn't as black and white, like sugar bad, no sugar good, as I am now, interestingly. I just saw that sugar was it just felt so good. I enjoyed it. Like, oh gosh, I guess it was entertainment. It was so tied to emotion. I didn't yet see food as fuel. I was still in that place of like food is for every coping. Food is my only coping skill when it comes to life. It's entertainment. It's like an emotional crutch. It was such a big thing that wasn't fuel that I almost can't. It was like I couldn't go a day without the sugar, or else I couldn't cope with my life. So that's why I feel like I was addicted to it. Whether you believe biologically we get addicted to sugar or not, I think I had a biological addiction to it and an emotional or spiritual, emotional, mental addiction to having all of that ritual of the sugar every day, because it was usually going somewhere. Like I wasn't keeping it in the house, but we would go to the coffee shop. And so the whole thing was just this like emotional, like you mentioned, relationship with the sugar and the ritual of it.
So we can say, or what you kind of mentioned, let me know if I am on the right track. So your belief back then about sugar was that it's entertainment. So that's why going out, that's kind of entertainment. So that was associated and connected to some kind of sweet treats, right? So we can say that you were believing, and you mentioned that in your description, I could not get one day without sugar.
Right.
That was your maybe ultimate belief with that identity of Amanda before passed away. So that belief created a feeling, right? Like I feel I need
Right.
to be entertained with sugar and I cannot get without it.
Right. I can't. Yeah.
So the actions it resulted into is feeding into that belief and into that feeling that you were perhaps lacking some sort of entertainment, and that was feeling that crutch,
Yeah.
that gut feeling, or whatever inside of you. So, and of course, the results you got were what? Were you overweight? Were you not happy about your body shape? What was the result of all that addiction or addictive personality then?
Well, I know I was overweight, had excess belly fat, had terrible sleep, really low energy, and really uneven mood. And just that emotional bad feeling of being addicted to something, like feeling the resulting feeling, the result of disempowerment. And so then every time I would have the sugar, I felt like, I am really messing this up. Like I don't have it figured out. Like, how do I not have this figured out yet? So that just negative self-talk would result from it, which was, I remember that being even more of a negative result than the body composition stuff.
So when you started asking the question, I was like, how do you say, how come I did not figure this out yet? How come that it's so messy? So did you feel like those questions were coming from the state of empowerment, or from the state, like, where would you go with those questions? Like, if we take this question, how come I haven't figured this out yet? If we follow through this question, what would be the answers?
Definitely disempowering answers like, oh, I'm just never going to figure it out. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough willpower. I am fundamentally flawed. I'm the one who will never have a healthy lifestyle, never be able to be unaddicted to sugar. So all very
perfect. That's awesome. Yeah. That's the thought downloading, and that's all there. And you are just like downloading it so quickly. So, and of course, this thinking produce the feelings of what? Giving up?
Absolutely.
Failure?
Yeah. All of that. Like, yeah.
And of course, what results you get, you just either be hopeless and disempowered, or more and more you start connecting with that and perhaps not liking it, so that your gap between where you are and all this thinking and thoughts that leading you to, again, kind of nowhere, produce that gap or that peak point of frustration.
Right.
Or perhaps, yes, your children become more of your motivator. So like, I'll do it for them because it's easy to do it for somebody else, I think. So, and then you think, or basically what we see already happened, and we know that you started moving towards creating a different identity. Mm-hmm. So, and then as you kind of start opening up to like, something has to be done because I don't like where I am, my frustration is so high, then Fast Away came to town. So, and now, since you already know, since you've already created that identity, since you've already done this work,
right,
and we also kind of picked you up from before and now after. So, and you already mentioned a few things, what Fast Away has helped you with. But if we kind of pick up this middle Amanda identity, so like, how would you describe yourself now where you are with new tools, new knowledge, new space? We knew that you were addicted. We knew you didn't have tools. You knew you were frustrated. We knew that you were afraid to go with that addiction into life because you felt that something needs to give. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. And now you're here. You created that leap. You use the tools. And we already see that you can get results. So you're that committed person. So let's go and kind of describe your identity here, like where you are right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely now feel like it is shifting. And that's why I was willing to show up and say, I want to change, right? So I believe you got to change who you perceive yourself to be, and then the change starts to happen, right? So I saw myself as like, I'm a super clean eater. I have a superpower of being able to avoid added processed sugars all week. I can even not have them on Saturday. I don't need to do a sugar elimination challenge. For example, there's this one we're going to do in the Fast Way to Fat Loss in September if you're in their VIP membership. I very much am like, I have no need to do that. I already don't have added sugars in my eating pattern. We don't have them in the house. I am, so that was who I was up until like 2 weeks or so ago. when I started to say, okay, don't want to be that extreme anymore. I also want to layer on being able to be a person who has treats in the house and has the, I have the power, the treats don't have the power kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. So this is where you are. And again, what the pattern that I'm seeing, so like the word addictive, right? It's extreme.
Yes.
And you just use the word extreme again.
Right.
So it seems like it might be still in your pattern to go one extreme or the other, or yes, white, all or nothing, or black and white.
Yeah.
And of course, life has lots of colors, and balancing it out is obviously a challenge. But if we stop here, so I don't want to be extreme anymore. So, and this is where you are, right? So this is your circumstance. And again, going back to like that emotional power of women, I think what I see is we immediately start judging.
Yeah.
We immediately start putting a thought into it. And we immediately describe that thought with adjectives: bad, good, black, white, I should, I could, whatever, I would have, I could have, if and when and but. So all of that, right? Like if we take another person to look at your situation and how you live, right? She'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And where you are and you look at it and giving all those judgments, it's like, it's not where I want to be. Which again, we are coming to that power of, again, frustration. The peak point is here. Like I need to do something about it because it's not serving me anymore.
Yes.
So, but if we look at the circumstance, because this is just where it is, and this is the best place to be because that's where you are. And that's neutral. If we come from the point of neutral and not so much black and white, good or bad. So what is your thought about where you are right now? What are you thinking? Do you think, maybe I'll just ask the question, do you think you can break through this cycle of all or nothing?
I do. I'm super happy and nervous, but excited, happy with where I am, but eager for more. So I know when I have those feelings, that's a good signal. Like I'm starting to see my feelings are just my GPS system. I don't have to label them as good or bad. So those are telling me you're ready to do this, Amanda. Like you're going to do some good work here. I, got a lot out of Macros 101 and then that 5-day challenge a lot of us did together. A lot of that has put me in a place where I'm like, I am in a great place to practice and see it as practice and see it as a macro scientist doing her experiment on me figuring out sugar moderation. Because I do feel like there isn't, I like to be extreme because that equals answers. It's yes or no. There really probably for each of us isn't a yes or no on how much sugar we have. We're going to have to experiment, right? Like that's my perspective on myself now. It's like, I'm going to have to approach this like a macro scientist and just be willing to do the experiment, make my observations. And I'm hopeful and excited. And I think I could do it. I feel like I have a lot of tools I've learned. Like I'm in a very good place to do this.
Yeah, and I definitely see this great identity shift because again, before Fast Away, so we saw Amanda who was perhaps confused, unclear, kind of like that hot mess type scenario. You did not use the word now I'm happy where I am.
Right.
Which is obviously the best place to be in.
Yeah.
So that you can set new goals, new destinations, and create the new identity.
Yes.
So it's a very good place to be. And I'm very happy for you that you are here. I am happy. And let's try to create I want to be.
Yeah.
like that around sugar, around sweets, and all of that you've been experiencing. So let's just try to create that destination. I'm in Ohio. I want to go to Paris.
Right.
So what do I want to do in Paris? What I want to feel like in Paris? What I want to believe in Paris?
Right. Right. So I guess I'll start with the thoughts. I want to think,
And if you want, just to propose here and maybe give a moment of silence. So if you want, and if somebody listens to us right now or maybe later, why won't we just take 1 minute or maybe a little longer, pick up the pen and paper and just kind of do thought download. Even if you don't know what you want to be, just say like, I don't know what I want to be. And then stay there for a minute and see what comes, right? Anything. How about that? Shall we do that?
that sounds wonderful.
Okay, so let's take a minute. I'll set the timer, get the pen and paper, and just try to send yourself to a good place around sugar or wherever you want to go. All right, so that's a minute. So yes, and perhaps you may have to continue this homework assignment and maybe just make that your daily ritual and see if there is more comes up. Maybe try to do it for a week and then just kind of evaluate your identity from the neutral space, not bad and good. But if you want to share something right now, what came up? So let's try to play with that.
First, I just love the, thinking about who you want to be. It lets you show up as that person. We kind of started like that in Macros 101. So a lot of you are getting to start that too. Like, who do you want to be when it comes to food? Like, and then once you can see who you want to be, you can start being her. Like, because you're like, oh yeah, this is what she would do. So that's what I'm imagining. I want to be empowered and a macro scientist and feeling in control with sugar. I want to be thinking like my success is inevitable around this. It's just an experiment. I can't get it wrong. I'm figuring it out as I go. I have great support. I have a lot of skills. I'm in a really good place to be doing this. And I want to feel free and creative around added sugars as I do around all my other food. Like, I feel so free and creative and in charge and empowered around whole food nutrition and carbs and proteins and fats. I want to bring that to the sugar next, and feel balance in my mind, my emotions, and my body. Because I know how it feels to be unbalanced with sugar and have the tummy aches, indigestion, body composition I don't want, bad energy. I know the unbalanced feeling. So I'm like, yeah, I know that's a nice thing because I know what I don't want. Now I know what I do want. So how great that I had those old feelings. And now I know what I do want is the balance and freedom and joy and fun and creativity with sugar that I have with all my other food. And the things I want to do are have treats in the house. And I'm tempted to, I won't, we can talk about this another time. I keep wanting to extrapolate this to my kids, but I know I need to wait because I know on this whole journey, I would go out in front of them and like do the things and then they would come along. Right. So I'll just stop with, I want to be able to, for me, have treats in the house and I guess I'll tag on like, and coping skills for me to not be too controlling of what my kids do when they find the treats, or and even that is really messed up. And I know it is. So we'll get there with that. I want to have added sugars more than once a week if I want to, without feeling like, no, can't, following a rule, have to restrict it till Saturday. That's the only way I can function. So those are two things I came up with that are do's. Like, I don't know if we'll call that. Yeah, those are probably action. What do we call them? Process goals, like tiny action steps that I want to do. And then like the overall, yeah. So thinking, feeling, doing is how that's hard to say.
Yes, that's perfect. Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of like the model I'm trying to present here. And just as you noticed, I was talking about circumstance and not just basically know where you are, because if you're aware where you are, can you try to just kind of describe that with neutrality? Because this is who you are and what you are. You're unique where you are. And if it's not bad and good, just like this is it, you're here. And sometimes you don't want to be on that map space, but you're here. You know where you are, you can start making other maps, right? Yeah. So now we talk, when you're here, so what are your thoughts? And how those thoughts cause your beliefs and cause your emotions.
Right.
So that's what I've been kind of trying to get with Amanda. And then, of course, your thoughts, emotions, they're going to create the actions, and then they create the results. And a lot of times, in order to kind of get to that space, we need to be really, really frustrated with where we are, or really kind of like want those goals or whatever, that new identity.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to kind of take an inventory and just allow yourself to see where you are, and then try to create this new identity. And just kind of creating a new win. I heard you saying, I want to think my success is inevitable. Let's try to make this into a little bit more firmer statement. And I'm going to ask you a question. Do you really believe that your success is inevitable?
I do. I do now.
Then let's try to say that. I believe my success is inevitable.
Yeah, that's what I even say. One of my mantras, and that came from Macros 101, but I have others from other places where like my success is inevitable. I can't get it wrong because I never have to get it done. I don't have to figure it out this red hot minute. I'm figuring it out as I go.
Exactly.
I have plenty of support, and I have lots of skills, and I'm getting more and more every day. I'm getting, better and better every day in every way, those kind of things.
So do you think, or do you feel at the moment that you can start stepping into this new identity by creating those small steps that help you associate with this new identity of Amanda?
Yeah, I do. And I would love to be a little planful, because I was like, that will help me when I make those small action steps. Because I'm all about, I do. But I do feel like I'm there ready to do, like, let's have some steps where, like, on purpose, we have a treat on a Tuesday and make it work with macros. And that kind of stuff.
Be intentional. Yeah. I also heard, and I actually wrote it before you said so. So I was like, I wonder if she's going to include macro scientist or scientist and creative in her new identity. I even wrote in my paper, and you did. And here's a little bit of what I see from the mirror image of talking to you. And I've heard that from you many times. You like that identity of being a microscientist or scientist in perhaps a life. And you did mention before that you had, I think, biology degree, right? So kind of loyalty comes with that personality. So, but I also see a little bit of contradictions, because you kind of have those two personalities, and we all have those polarities, right? So when I imagine a scientist something like Edison, right? So something like we can relate to.
Right.
And we know like how many trials it took for him to create that bulb. So when I think of him, like, we have the crazy hair and that tongue out, and he's just so, what you also mentioned, you like to be creative. You like to experiment. You like to have those yes and no answers. And then at the same time, perhaps because of other modalities, that's why sometimes it's not you who is the problem. It's just the plan or the system you follow. It worked for you then. And perhaps now where you are, that system just does not serve you anymore.
Right.
And what I see is happening, correct me if I'm wrong, it is kind of like that personality crush. It's like, yes, I've trained myself to be Amanda, who is restrictive, who has certain treat days, who has certain rules, who has certain times, has certain whatever. And everybody has to follow in my family because that's what has worked for me. And then there is this other identity of Amanda, but no, I want to experiment. I want to put like a little bit of this in my recipe and a little bit of this in my recipe and a little bit of this in the recipe and see what comes out.
Right.
You can do that with everything else, but the sugar I'm paralyzed about because I think that comes again when we follow other systems. What's the theme around it? Restrict, restrict, restrict. Sugar is bad. That's right. It. There is no black and white. It's just bad, right? Yeah. So, and then you came through your journey to like, okay, shall I stay true to myself, who is a microscientist? And I got that to the T with everything else. But the sugar is like, it's not part of my recipe. It's not part of my ingredients.
Right.
But if we kind of stay in this identity of the scientist, right? First of all, what comes with that? Lots of attempts.
Yeah.
And attempts, it's not bad or good, or it's not failure and success. It's the attempts and how many he had before that electrical bulb comes up.
Yeah, that is a fantastic mind shift for me because I did not think about that with scientists, like that most of their work, their whole life is all the things that didn't work, all the things that I would think of as a failure. But I like replacing that word with attempts or experiments.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want you to create, the circumstance that neutrality plays, and really connect what does it feel like to be a scientist, not just like with chicken or pasta or Mexican or whatever.
Right.
But can you bring those qualities that you enjoy, you thrive on? We all love your recipes. We all love all your pictures that you post. You're definitely, and more you do that, more you put your own special touch there because, it's an experiment. Yes, you follow the recipe, but you don't have this ingredient. Guess what? You make something up, right?
Yeah.
So because it's that part of being that scientist, that creativity that you have, that you love, that you enjoy, that perhaps also makes you entertained, right?
Yeah.
It's that feeling of entertainment. And you thrive on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if that all works really, really well with other food ingredients in the space you're in right now, and you're ready to change your system, and perhaps this new system has to adapt to you and how you see it, make it work.
Right.
So if we take this scientist personality in your new identity and know that you are in charge of creating your own system, what would it look like? Like, if it was fun, if it was that experiment, if it was that creative, if I was a scientist with sugar and sweets, what's it gonna feel like? What's gonna be new thoughts around it? Do you want to take a minute to kind of start writing, or do you want to just talk through this?
Well, let me think. Maybe
Yeah, we can take a minute and just again, kind of we're gonna just zoom in into the scientist Amanda. And we're going to apply that scientist identity. Like right now, I invite you to step into your identity of the scientist that works for many other areas in your life and allow yourself to look at it from the neutral perspective. I love to be a scientist. So, how can I bring this scientist personality identity around sweets, around sugar? How's it going to make me feel? What actions can I take to make me feel like that?
Right.
And what results it may bring. So, yeah, and I'll give you some time. And if you guys go through kind of similar perspective, and perhaps your personality or identity is not being a scientist, but see if you can maybe identify with your own circumstance where you are and what you want to be, what you want to become. And I definitely feel from my own experience and kind of that sugar type is definitely that gap where we're missing some kind of fun, some kind of experiment, some kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
That's why I love the personality or identity of the scientist as well, because there is no failure. And if the Edison did not create that bulb, he would have prepared all the work for the next person to pick it up.
Yeah.
Or right now we know how this bulb has become way more. I mean, we have electrical cars right now, right? So, but if Edison didn't do it, but all his attempts would have still led to another person to pick it up. Which I think is a very empowering state to be in. Now, how can we create those feelings and beliefs around it that will help us create some steps on a journey of these phases of creating this new identity?
Okay.
So I was just talking while you were writing, hopefully. And whenever you're ready, let's just kind of play with that idea of being curious.
Okay. So I definitely want to be that like curious macro scientist around my sugars. So I have that creative, fun, relaxed, in charge feeling, can't get it wrong. When it comes to experimenting with added sugars in my eating pattern, like I do with all other food. I do want to have the parameter of, I'm not even worried about it. I don't even think I need to say that, but I'm like, I do believe that I should consume less than 25 grams of added sugars a day, but I don't think I don't even want to at this point. I'm like, I just know all the consequences. I know how awesome I feel when I have an appropriate amount of added sugars. And that's
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I think it's a very good processing what you've just done, because you've already been in a system of restriction. You've done that and it worked for that time. And remember, you've already shifted your identity. That's why we kind of started before fast away,
right?
Then fast away. And now we're creating another identity of Amanda, but perhaps just zooming in to more sugar. So, and now I really want you to come from the state of, is it really going to work for me where I am?
So yeah, I think what could work for me where I am is it'd be fun to do this. Find a way to know my grams of added sugars a day versus my grams of sugars, because just using my fitness pal as I am now, all it reports when I log my food, which I love doing, is your total grams of sugars. And you don't know if it's coming from the sugars in a banana versus the sugars from processed food, processed added sugar, like the sugar that's in a chocolate chip. So that'd be a fun, small, doable action step. I'm excited to do that.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's the scientist in you, but you come from the feeling of being excited.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very empowering feeling. And you're looking at it as an experiment, and it will be an experiment. And when you find it out, you'll share.
Yeah, and I love sharing it. So I was gonna say that's another piece like of doable action steps and like accountability for me is that I'm like, oh, and then I will share it with you all. So, and I also came up with or thought, oh, it would be fun to have Saturday treat day still, but then also have like, maybe I would say a Wednesday treat day, or also just be like on purpose, have some other treat during the week and have it be one that I experiment and get creative about. Because I love having whole food, but also like whole food that has a little added sugar. Like last night, this was an example of something that went really well, where we made the crepini that I found at Costco. We put bananas and peanut butter in it. And I thought to myself, this would be so good with chocolate chips, but am I ready to do that? Like, am I ready to add the added sugars? And then the kids are going to be like, I have to have one too. Like, am I ready to go there? And I was like, yep, we're doing it. We did that after dinner. It was so fun. Everyone tried it. Everyone loved it. And then it dawned on us, this tasted just like this treat we had in Mexico. And even my husband was like, oh, I want to try one then. And it was super wonderful. Like, it was a very good experience. And actually it was nice to have the added calories because I've been trying to get up to my 1950 calories and missing it. Like, when I went back and checked for my reverse diet, I have not been getting up to 1950 yet, which is a whole nother topic. So that was super wonderful. So maybe something, I don't know if I want it to be as prescriptive and controlled as like it's on Wednesdays when I try this, but that might help me because I love schedule. Maybe I say, Wednesday's the day I play with creating a treat that has whole food and added sugars, and see how I feel. And, something around like, it would be fun to collect the data around, well, when you have this many added sugars, Amanda, how do you feel versus this many? Like, what's working for you and the way you feel emotionally and physically, and what data can you collect around that mindfully and on purpose, and enjoy it, and also get to share it with others. Because I guess I love creating. That's super fun, but I get a big kick out of being creative and sharing the results with other people.
And you're very good at it. So I definitely sense that your voice is changing. I definitely see and feel some excitement there, and some like, okay, Amanda is on a mission and ready to experiment.
Yes.
I definitely loved a choice of words of how you were describing. You were definitely, in my kind of view of a scientist, using all those words. You said curious, you said experiment. You also try to kind of justify that I will be mindful and on purpose. We'll get back to that. But I also love the words play, create, collect data, share data. And that's really like the scientist coming in you, which is great. And you did use the words, it will be fun and excited. So as you heard this voice from me telling back to you, just summarizing, how did it make you feel?
Good. And like, yeah, I can see the place I'm in now, like who I'm becoming is what feels good. And I'm happy. And I came up for me again, that thinking that we talked about last week of like, I have a thing about having fun and being responsible at the same time is something I'm getting better and better at, or being, just those two identities. Like, fun people aren't responsible is my old thinking. And my new thinking is like, you can have fun and
so what is your belief around it? Sorry to interrupt you. Why do you believe it's like that?
That's a good question. Like, I think it must come from how I grew up, because I know, like, my mom was a single parent from when I was 4 and my brother was 2, because my dad died suddenly in an accident. And it was, I think her coping was like, okay, we're all going to have to like really have ourselves together and be very controlled and like to get stuff done, because it was very hard. Like, So I think that's just who I remember becoming as a kid, was like super responsible. Like, people would always be like, are you only 5? Like, you're like an adult. So I have that thing. And I see it in my son too. He's like, well, I always have to be so responsible. I just want to have fun. My
Yeah,
kids are so good at reflecting back what I need to work on. So, yeah, that thought of fun people aren't responsible, and responsible people don't have fun.
exactly.
Type of thing.
So, and again, it got you to where you are now, and it has worked.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely,
So,
absolutely.
and perhaps that sugar food, the physical representation of that, it's that gap between that being responsible and fun, and
Yeah.
now it just shows up in that physical form.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That if perhaps, or when, I have to say, when you find the ways to combine being fun, which is part of your personality and identity you want to keep, but also there's another part of your personality of being responsible that you don't want to lose, but perhaps you want to modify it to be a little bit more. I mean, you did use the word mindful and purposeful. Perhaps you can say that. Would you love to maybe actually? Maybe that's going to be a homework assignment. Why wouldn't you come up with a new definition, or with the definition of today?
Yeah.
I am responsible. Like, what is my definition?
Yeah.
And then I am fun. What's my definition? And then can you combine those together from what you define them, how you define them, and then define I'm responsible and fun. And this is in one sentence. Maybe just sit with that for a week or so, keep downloading your thoughts, and
Yeah.
then see if you can pick some and create that new definition I'm responsible and fun. And see
Yes.
if you can maybe try this, take this new definition to your new identity that you're stepping into. And then when it becomes a little bit more clear in your mind, just start living that new Amanda who is responsible, but he's also fun. And I think that might be what I feel is that might be your missing piece from that inside work that you might have to do
Yeah.
to help you on the journey of that physical expression of fun and responsible in that sugar and sweetness.
Yeah. I totally agree. I see that because it's a underlying theme. Like it was my
Yes.
stumbling block for eating out.
Because they are contradicting themselves in a way, but again, I think you're coming from very much black and white perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I would love for you to work on one, work on the other, and then pick and combine.
Yep.
Just like, again, what you're doing, you're creating a recipe for your new identity.
Yeah,
What ingredients do you want to play with this new identity from those definitions and lots of life experiences? And you did have those reasons, and you had good reasons. Now you're in a new space of mind, new space of body, new space of family, new space.
Right.
So it's time to change that underlying belief, but coming from that, again, scientist kind of place and not so much judgmental, because it's easy to put the label black and white and then where we're going from there.
Right.
Nowhere, right? We judge. But no, I am here. What are my thoughts about it? So we already uncovered a lot. And I think that will be a good one to really sit with.
Yes.
Responsible and fun. See what comes up. And then start living with that new mindset, with that new definition. And I would just maybe use your scientist personality for that time a little bit and see how it's going to show up with your relationship to sugar and sweets.
Yes, I feel like that's a super doable action step to do that homework. And then this week, I'll do my finding a way to see my added grams of added sugar versus just total sugars, which will help a lot of people too. And then I'll get my fun and responsible way of having treat beyond treat day.
Yes. And if you want, just for a few remaining minutes, I know Friday's here and you'll be going out.
Yes.
And of course, going out is going to be entertainment, and you're going to put your purple. And so let's just kind of play with an idea.
Okay, because yeah,
So
this will be an advanced
today,
one.
yes.
My son wants to go out for somewhere where, oh my God, all they have is like the worst fried bar food ever. So
We're going to the word worse, right?
well, yeah, no,
See
no.
if we can replace it with something else.
Yeah, just absolutely the most wonderful, delicious chicken wings and pizza and
Okay. Okay.
food like that.
Yes. Yes. Let's just play with a little bit of that new identity, new personality, and play with that kind of scientist in mind. So it's today, you know what to expect. Um, let's just come from that neutral perspective. This is how it is. It's a
Yes.
circumstance. Okay. So what thoughts am I gonna choose? And that ability to make a choice brings that personality of I'm responsible Amanda, right?
Right.
But you can choose your thoughts. Let's try to play with a few thoughts that you want to choose and take with you this Friday.
Yes, I choose to feel that it will be really fun, and I'm already like, luck. This is big win that when he said we take turns choosing what dinner will be, so it's his turn, and I knew what he would say, and I didn't have the oh gosh, I'm gonna hate this, it's gonna be awful. I had this like, oh, it's gonna be so fun to finally go. We haven't been to this place in so long. It's Riverfront Pizza, Newport, Kentucky. Um, we call it Yellow Door Pizza. It is the food I had the day after both of my kids were born. Like, there is a ton of emotional stuff around this place. And I was like, it feels really good to be excited and want to go. And I already have a plan of how it can be fun and responsible. So it was a big win, actually.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. So, yes,
So I'm glad
those thoughts and your ability to do that made you feel empowered.
empowered and like, oh yes, I'm getting this. Like, I'm getting the hang of it. I am making progress.
And especially at that moment when your kids become that mirror image and they definitely open up that discomfort zone, right? In which you used to know how you felt and you've already noticed. Now you are stepping into that new identity and now you feel empowered. You're still making your choices. And then, of course, those thoughts creates those feelings and you're still excited about it, you're still having fun, you did not tell your son again, oh gosh, right?
Yeah.
This is a huge win from where you're coming. That's congratulations. And then of course when we have those thoughts, they have the feelings, right? The feelings produce actions, which means you're going to stick to your actions, to your thoughts and feelings. So the actions will be just to help you follow through with that. And the result of your wonderful dinner with your family in this, oh gosh, place used to be, is going to be what?
I think just that we'll have a really fun time. Like, we'll enjoy the time, enjoy the food, enjoy not cooking and not cleaning up and doing the dishes, like enjoy the break, enjoy feeling like it's a celebration of their first full week back to school. Like all the good stuff, without any of the guilt or shame. So that'll be really good. Like, really, really nice. And I'll
And
feel physically good too, because this is important to me, because I have a plan for how I can go there and enjoy the delicious food, but also get my protein and not feel like sick from the grease and all of that stuff.
yeah. Well, definitely, I love the words around it. What I heard you said, it's going to be fun, it's going to be enjoyable, it's going to be like a celebration. It also has that symbolic place in your memory. So you went there after your kids were born. So this is a great connection, and you felt pretty good about it. You said that you have a plan that's going to help you enjoy all of that because, again, it's that responsible Amanda.
Right.
You're going to be coming up with that definition. But now you're trying to combine that with fun and coming out with that entertainment, right?
Right.
And that's that missing piece. Like, am I allowing myself to have fun? And what does it feel like to me? What does it mean? And what kind of food represents fun that I used to restrict?
Right.
but it worked then. It's not that good, right? So
Right.
this is that place. That was circumstance. It worked. Amanda got results because she's an action taker. So now stepping into this new identity and creating that new circumstance from which she can thrive with newer thoughts, newer feelings,
Right.
newer actions. And that whole process coming from here to here, it requires a lot of growth, right? But if we, again, kind of stop and say, am I judging? Am I thinking too much? Am I coming up with labels? How can I neutralize my spot? How can I neutralize my thoughts so that that overwhelm, that discomfort, that stepping into the new identity is a hard work. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it may last for years. But if you believe your success is inevitable, you stick with it.
Right. Yeah.
But if you believe I'm overwhelmed and it's too much and I'm not good enough and it's bad, again, if you come up with those thoughts, where is it going to take you?
Right. Then you
And do you really want those results, right? So if you do want those results, then try to identify what thoughts you're using. How can you transform them into different thoughts that will produce different feelings, that will produce different actions, that will eventually bring you to the results. However, it's not a magic wand.
Yeah. But yeah. And it, like, how boring would life be really if we think of like, as soon as we wanted something, we just had it happen. What would be the point?
Yes.
We'd all be
Yes.
like, you know. So.
Yeah, but we live in that instant world of gratification. But I think that if we allow ourselves to be self-compassionate for ourselves, and I know for a responsible person, because I am kind of with that same mentality as well. So that was really good to hear and see that mirror image. So I know that I demand that responsibility from others, or I used to, like, way more. Just like, yes, I set the rules. This is how we're going to do it. And then your son says, we're going to go there. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'm responsible. And what are you doing? You're like creating all this thing because I'm restricting and going through that whole thing and not allowing that fun to happen. And he's, however old he is, he's still in that state. And that's good to like break that cycle and put you into that discomfort zone. And it's like, it's just not working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, am I right? Kind of like with that whole processing, because I know I've been there.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been really trying to notice when those people, trigger my buttons. And that super responsible comes like, you're late again, and I'm here like waiting for you for 5 minutes because I'm responsible. Then I've been really trying to practice that self-compassion. So it's like, hey, what? It's okay. Like, I don't have to be like that rigid.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm even at the place where I'm like, I tell myself, thank you, son, for giving me this practice. Like, or I won't change. And that's probably why why I had you do that in my experience.
Yeah.
Like, you are, if I didn't have him there saying, let's eat at Yellow Door, I would just keep stuck in my old ways. So it feels good to see him as like a cooperative component in my growth and not see him as a problem. That feels really good.
Yes. I love how you said as a cooperative component in my growth. And that's create a lot of self-consciousness and a lot of self-work to look at the situation, because and I know for a responsible person, it's much easier just to be in charge and do things instead of giving that power, and then suddenly they put you into that opposite forces. But soon you will not be in those opposite thoughts forces, because you're going to be responsible and fun and allow that fun with responsibility where you are right now, and of course it will change in the future where you're going to be. So I guess as we conclude, let's just kind of summarize real quick. What would be your 3 immediate action steps that you will take for this week, perhaps till next Friday? Let's do number 1, 2, 3.
Make it really small. First, I'll wear reflecting back to last week, I'll wear my nice pink purple color to go to dinner, and because that's such a strong, good cue for me to focus on that I can be fun and responsible, and that's really a wonderful feeling, and I love doing that. And then I can follow through with my plan at dinner. I've done this before. I bring my protein shake with me to drink, and then I plan out what I'm going to have at the restaurant that I most want to have, like the things I really love, and fit that into my macros. So that's 2 things that are today. And then my third thing will be do my homework of defining fun and responsible and making a nice sentence about it. And then I don't feel like it's overwhelming for me to add on that. I'll find a way to know what grams of added sugars I'm having. And then I'll layer on a treat day beyond Saturday where I experiment and have fun and just like be the macro scientist in the kitchen with added sugars.
That's awesome. That's a great summary. So yes, we're looking forward to hear more progress. And I know it's going to be a lot of progress because Amanda is so unique and she already comes with that belief that your success is inevitable. Yeah. You also believe that you can change and you can create that identity that you'll be happier with. But you also come from that place, you're pretty happy here and now, but it doesn't mean you cannot set the goals and get to the new destinations of your potential, and also opening up for new opportunities and new knowledge that you love sharing about as well. And why taking steps is so important, because I think that's a great tool to deal with that sense of overwhelm.
Yes.
However, overwhelm can be a good thing because it's time for a change. Yeah. And it might feel overwhelming because you can even like on the map, right? Even GPS does not tell us like from here to here, done. And give us steps. Oh, turn to the left here, turn to the right here. Oh, there is a construction here. Do you turn here? Like if it's that smart GPS, it gives us all those ins and outs.
Right.
So just know that it's going to be those mile steps.
Yeah.
And
a good thing.
Amanda's actions for this week might be very different for next week because she'll be in a different space.
Yep.
So, and that's how it's going to be helpful to deal with the overwhelm. First, take that as that neutral circumstance. It's just how it is. That means I'm changing.
Yeah. Right.
And then take the steps.
I am there. I'm ready.
Yes, you are ready and you are there. So that's fantastic. Well, thank you for allowing me to play through this whole journey of creating a map system for stepping from one identity to another and to the other, because it's always a process of experimenting with your identities to create that scientific experiment that becomes your bulb moment at that time.
Yeah, I am appreciative very much of having you along my side, and that, everything's just always working out beautifully with all the circumstances lately. So that's so wonderful because it's, like Amber said, and hopefully everyone's getting the big picture. Even the fact that we're in this Well Woman's Community Facebook group together is because why would we want to do any of this alone? I don't even know that I could have done I know I couldn't have done any of this alone. Like we just are here with other people because that's the point, So it's so wonderful to let someone else hold up a mirror for me. And then I get to grow so much more than I would be doing here by myself. So I'm very appreciative of you being here.
Well, thank you. And I think we should just call it pre-retirement club for active women who want to feel well and empowered.
Yes. We could go on like trips to Hawaii and
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to be eating lots of pineapple.
Yeah. So
and
good.
Comes with good sugar.
That's right.
Right. Well, thank you and happy Friday. Enjoy your time. So yes, give us pictures in progress of today and show up that purple outfit.
I will do. And ladies listening, I know because you've already been asking, that you all do have questions or you're thinking about, which is so good, which is why I appreciate the Faster Way a lot, that they set up these monthly challenges. Like, again, it's another example of like, be in a group where there's people co-creating with you, growing with you. So they set up these challenges to help you grow. So this sugar elimination challenge that's in the Faster Way for 21 days, any challenge you could be in, it's going to, hopefully it's bringing up questions for you of like, should I do that? Is it going to trigger me to just have sugar all the time? All that. So if those questions are coming up for you, sugar questions are coming up from you from watching Julia and I talk through all of this, let us know. And we can talk more about it in the group. You can make your own posts in the Well Women's community anytime, post any questions you want. See this as a place where you can, safely ask questions and not need to have an answer, all that kind of stuff, so that you, can do your growing and changing.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and if you want to be in the hot spot or hot seat, just like Amanda, yes, it takes guts, but we can definitely play with that idea. So just let us know, volunteer, and we will see where we can lead you to.
Yeah, it'll be super fun.
Yeah, it will be. Well, have a good day, enjoy it, and have fun.
All right. Have a great day, ladies.
Bye. Oh, yeah.